dude like gets up on stage and then like starts to like tussle with me, and I'm scared because I'm a big guy, but he's really big and overpowering me. I'm like, okay, man, like, right on. And then like he like picks me up and then like starts to bring me down like over his knee, and then but like pulls his knee back and then kind of breaks my fall on the stage. And I was like, okay, well, this guy's, I think he knows what he's doing. He must some training, some combat wrestling, training. And then like I'm like, I start to get up, and then the dude steps over me, pulls down his sweatpants, and then starts to try and sit on my face.
Without, we could add a little ado if you want.
Okay, I'll throw in some ado.
Perfect.
Here's your ado.
All right. With that small amount of ado, let us go ahead and bring in our wonderful, fabulous, multi-talented guest, Mr. Jonah Ray Rodriguez.
Hello. I could have used a bit more ado.
Okay.
We'll work on that for next time. I've got some.
Perfect amount of ado. I like it.
All right.
And
great.
people who haven't seen that episode, very confused.
They're missing out on something awful.
They're probably as confused as the viewing audience of Mac and Me originally.
Indeed.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you so much.
Very excited to have you.
Not sponsored by Coca-Cola, but I figured I'd drink one for the heck of it. Anyway, we really appreciate you being here. So I'm going to jump in with this question. What is it like to have your legacy cemented by being part of a question on Jeopardy?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was, I'll put it this way. I know in my heart of hearts that I would have never in my life been smart enough to be on Jeopardy. And so this is the closest that I'll ever get. And it means a lot. It's really crazy. It's really, really crazy to me that, like, being on Mr. Sense Theater is enough for me to be a part of any kind of thing that I consider a legacy, but to have that blue card, a Jeopardy card, it's nuts. Oh. It's nuts. And I got the answer wrong. So I mean, that's how bad I am at Jeopardy. I'm not a quiz night guy. I end up getting nervous and saying the wrong thing.
Understandable, because like even in those situations where you might know it all, I don't think people understand in these high pressure situations like game shows that everything just leaves your brain. It's all gone, completely gone.
Yeah, there's people that like that part of their brain turns on like for like a quiz or like just being on. But like when you ask them, they go, I don't know. Like and I'm the same way. It's like, but I can talk knowledgeable when I'm just hanging out with my friends, but once someone's like, what's that thing again? What year did that come out? I don't know. I'm sorry. No. Don't ask questions.
I bet you do really well on Celebrity Jeopardy, though.
Probably, because those celebrities don't know shit. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, yeah. We encourage it.
It's our fucking show. We do what we want.
Perfect. Not to like digress any, but I see you have a Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes.
My wife and I went down a rabbit hole, I think on Christmas Eve or Christmas Eve of going on YouTube and watching regional productions of the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Now, did they all have really good names for their productions? Like some of them were like Rich Weirdos or I should say for their shadow casts. They all have... No,
I'm talking high school productions.
High
school musical productions. I just go on YouTube. There's a bunch of them. Of like high school kids doing the show, and it's perfect. It really makes you happy and cringy and also very excited. But I highly recommend it.
Oh, absolutely. So that's like Danica and my favorite film. We started watching it way too young. Like how old were we, Danica?
Thanks, Dad.
11. 11. Okay.
Yeah,
we were about 11. And
10, because my mom said that I had to wait until I was 11, and my dad was like, nah, man.
10's the age.
10's the appropriate age.
I still have a lot of questions. I'm not sure whether they'll be answered today, but through conventions and everything, I feel very blessed that I've gotten to meet so many people from the cast. Everyone except Richard O'Brien. He's kind of holding out a little bit.
Does he do the convention stuff? It doesn't seem like he's the type. He seems kind of like kind of a artsy, stuck up. He's old too, yeah. But like he does seem kind of like he seems like the kind of guy that wouldn't be too stoked off of the fandom of it, because it's like he seems like the kind of guy that would be like, they didn't get it, you know.
Right. If I remember correctly, he wasn't thrilled with kind of how everything turned out. So he's kind of like been in the shadows. But I know you've done your share of conventions. Have you gotten the chance to meet anyone from Rocky Horror?
No, you know, it's funny. I was at a convention with some of them. They were doing like some of them were there. See, now I'm blanking on his name. Brad.
Barry Boswick.
Yeah, I was going to say Barry Boswick. See?
Yeah.
See, that's like,
you got it.
You know it.
More ado.
You know what the worst part was? Like, I was like, it's Barry Boswick. No, Barry Boswick is the guy from Spin City. No, that is the same guy from the thing.
It is.
So he was there, and I was near him. Tim Curry was there, but it was, post stroke. So he was kind of in his own kind of curtained off area and would just kind of be brought in. So that's the closest I ever got to meeting any of them. But like, it is, the con circuit that's kind of my favorite thing. It's like, I don't rake it in at the cons, but like just being able to be in the kind of backstage green room area and being like,
so rad.
It's like I'm eating terrible, sandwiches, and then like to the left of me is, Mankind. And to the right of me is George Takei, and then next to him is John Cusack, not talking to anybody and just on his phone refreshing Twitter. And then the lady who did the voice for Ariel in The Little Mermaid. It's like,
right?
And then it's just nuts. It's nuts. Yeah. And then everyone's talking about like, everyone's going like, are we going to do TikTok? Is that something we should do? Is that a thing that, and like, George Takei goes like, my nephew loves it. Like, just.
First of all, very commendable George Takei.
Thank you. It's a big gamble trying to do a George Takei, because he is a gay Asian man, and I don't want to like seem like I'm dismissive or appropriating anything.
Absolutely, no, understandable. But just to kind of comment on what you said before, so I actually, my husband and I met at a convention. We got engaged at a convention, and then we got married we got married in a wrestling ring, but we got married by Mankind. So.
Oh, wow.
Cool, right? I mean, it just the people that you meet at these conventions. So, like, who's somebody that you would say that you met that's kind of that you maybe had looked up to, and you're like, "Holy crap! I can't believe I met so and so."
Man, well, because I've had outside of cons, I've had so much of that from when I was doing the Nerdist, and just from my career in general. Like, when I got to meet Weird Al Yankovic, like that was a huge deal, and that was when I was working at a record store. In Hollywood, and like he just happened to be there, and I went up to him. I was like, "Hi, I'm work here." But then, it's, getting to meet Mel Brooks. That was a really very important one to me. Like meeting Mel Brooks was huge. Like, and I kept it together until like I got like we interviewed him for the podcast. Then we all left, and then me and Matt drove me back to my car. Then right when I got in my car, I closed the door and I just started crying. Because it's just like, it's, you don't think that it's those full circle moments where, it's like, wow, because of this person, I'm getting to meet this person. Like, it's like, because of the stuff and the inspiration this person, did for me, like, I got to come around to a place where I got to meet them. But at cons, I'd say probably the one thing I got, at con specific was, I always loved him as an actor, and I always thought he was really cool, but, he plays, Wong in the Doctor Strange movies. His name is Benedict Wong, he's a fantastic actor, and like a real actor, like a British, from Manchester, just an actor guy. Wow. And we were just happened to be, our tables were kind of next to each other, and he's like, well, what are you doing after? We're in Miami. He's like, what are you doing after this? I was like, well, there's this punk rock bar in South Beach. I was just probably going to go to, and they have drag queen karaoke tonight. And I just, it's this place called Kill Your Heroes.
I live in Miami. How do I not know this place?
You don't know?
I don't know it.
Kill Your Heroes is great. It's a great, I just happened to go there once because what I'll do sometimes, I'll just look up punk rock bar, just because it kind of will lead you in a direction you want to go in. And I went, and I'm still friends with the guy who was the bar back that night. He's this awesome hardcore kid, but it's I was like, I'm going to this punk rock bar in South Beach. Let's go. And then we went, and then we just ended up getting wasted. And then when karaoke started, and it was like cool because I'm like, man, this is like really neat because I also like, I love acting and I love actors and I love like, like asking about like being nerdy about, form and all that stuff and then getting to ask some questions about this and that. And then the drag queen who was hosting that night, I can't remember her name, but she's like, it's you put in a song. He's like, I was like, you put in a song. He's like, yeah, a little bit ago. And then he starts doing the best Frank Sinatra singing voice I have ever heard in my life. And it was just a magical night. It was just like, it was one of those things where I'm like, I love showbiz. Like, I just love it so much.
Hell yeah. So do you karaoke as well?
I do. I have like my go-to songs because I don't have like great range and I can't mimic a singing voice, which kind of cuts down a lot of when you're doing karaoke. It's like you kind of have to have or you have to have like a really good take on it that's going to be, interesting and entertaining for 3.5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's where she and I differ, is that she does her own badass takes on super cool things. And I just go, I don't know, I can kind of make it sound like that person. Is that good?
Yeah. It's like I try my best to just kind of like at least stay near the key. And my go-to song is You Gotta Be by Desiree.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's my go-to.
That song? The city
has
your
Challenge what the future holds. Try to keep your head up to the sky.
They may pass you too. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. We really diverted, but I love this rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, this is amazing. But speaking of punk rock venues, if you need some cool ones, either in Memphis or Houston, I gotcha.
Oh, nice. I always. It's just kind of
or Chicago. Yeah.
Chicago, I know of some, like the Handlebar and the Rainbow Room. No, I can't remember. But it's where Liz Phair took the photo booth pictures for Exile.
That's
whatever that one is.
That place.
That
Love
place.
it. Know it well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that's I don't know. It's my favorite. Like that's San
it.
Francisco has a good number of like punk rock bars. I'm sure they're going to be gone in a matter of months. But
the best one in Memphis is now of course closed. But
well, hopefully post-COVID things will open up. I remember we had Churchill's, right, Danica? Was that also down here in Miami? Because I think that's close too. Anyway, let's go back to your question initially, Danica.
What? What was that? Oh my God, where were we?
After the first question, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Good Lord. Okay. So, what is your favorite bad movie, and or what is the hardest movie to watch without something like riff tracks?
Oh wow. Well, my favorite new bad movie is a movie by this guy named John DeHart, and he is out of Los Angeles, and he wrote, directed, starred, sings a couple songs in this one. It just wrote it like and he's actually by trade he's a trial lawyer, and like he's just like I remember because I was watching the movie. And I was like, he looks familiar, and like because there was a trailer for it when there was Cinefamily was like showing this movie, and the whole time he was like, he looks so familiar, he looks so, and then like they showed his billboard, a picture of his billboard at the end of the trailer they made for it, where he's like, been in an accident, he's like one of those guys.
Love it. What's the number? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, ocho. But the movie's called Get Even, but everyone refers to it as Get Even because the kerning on the title is so close together that it just looks like one word. And it's real bad. I was fighting hard for it to be on Mr. Science Theater, but it's got like, it's got a lot of like, nudity and stuff like that, and you can't really do that kind of stuff with
Boo!
Yeah, you can't. There's a certain level, still kind of a family puppet show in the end, yeah.
Puppets in that?
Yeah. So that's probably my favorite. You can find the trailer online. There's 2 different trailers too. You can find the one that the rep theaters make, and then you can find John DeHart's personal trailer for it on his YouTube channel.
Is that like the Zack Snyder recut of the?
Yeah, exactly. But that's like one of my favorite bad movies. But like it's just as a current one. But one of my favorite. I was pushing real hard for this one for for the last season, Mystery Science Theater, was Maximum Overdrive. I really wanted to do Maximum Overdrive, the Stephen King movie, because it'd be really cool to have a movie with Emilio Estevez, and it's just such a classic movie, classic soundtrack, and we're in kind of the Stephen King renaissance, and so I was fighting really hard for it, and they just said, like, we can't afford it. It's kind of too big of a movie to do. And so, but luckily my friend, Ryan Turek, who he works, at Blumhouse Pictures. He's an executive over there. He knows a lot about that movie. And so he was asked by, the company releasing the Blu-ray of Maximum Overdrive, which of course is the movie about trucks and mechanics coming to life.
You don't say.
Okay. Yeah. Just in case you don't know, for those uninitiated. I don't want to assume. But and so he gets asked to do it because he knows a lot about the movie and the production. And so he was asked to do a commentary track because I couldn't get anyone from the actual movie. And I was like, really? Yeardley Smith? Lisa Simpson isn't going to do it? Because she's in that movie. But then he's like, but I don't want to do it by myself. So did you want to come on and kind of just do like be the color commentator? And so like he just has all the facts and I'm just asking questions. And so that's like, we ended, so now I'm on the Blu-ray for it. So that's the closest I got.
That's very
Congratulations!
Cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's pretty sweet.
I do.
Yeah, I do.
I do.
I do.
Oh.
So you recently visited the town with the last blockbuster, which is very exciting. But
yes.
If you could only save one film, which film would you save?
Ooh, man.
Not necessarily maybe a favorite, but just one that you're like, this is the film.
Is it for me? Is it for like the world?
Posterity?
Yeah.
I guess that's how you want to interpret it.
Like the last blockbuster is burning. I have a chance to run in Pee Wee Herman style and save.
After you do the tequila dance, then you save the film.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my favorite movie. Nah, man, my favorite movie is Ed Wood.
Whoa.
But at the same
Strong
time,
choice.
I think like I would like Stand By Me, but that's such a personal thing. But it's such a movie that like it feels like everybody can enjoy. I don't know. I feel conflicted. I need more parameters, is what I'm saying.
I know. I figured you were going to say like Avatar or something.
Yeah.
What the world needs is Avatar.
It's the Snyder cut of Justice League.
But I think Stand By Me is a good, classic, feel-good. Like you said, it's something that everyone can enjoy. I like Stand By Me. I think that's a good choice.
Yeah. I don't know.
I just like a dead body,
Yeah, exactly. When you start there, it can only... like, I don't know. It's because... I don't know. It's because there's that feeling of just like you want to try and sound like, it's like, well, it's got to be Citizen Kane or Casablanca, which are both... Like, Citizen Kane's boring, but Casablanca's a great movie,
It's a movie, yeah.
Yeah.
It was filmed.
It was filmed. And there were, I think, at most, I'd say 24 frames per second in that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
I'd say.
Good rate.
If that, yeah. My eyes, I have good eyes.
Strong rate.
Yeah. I pick up on this stuff. I'm a real movie buff.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So a quick little segue that Danica and I wanted to make is we wanted to talk about how fantastic Harmar Superstar is because, oh my God, obsessed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh, yeah.
But another band that I wanted to mention that has nothing to do with MST3K is the band Man Man, who I saw open for Electric Six, maybe like 10, 15 years ago. And I was like, what band is this? They were all like rotating instruments on the stage and meowing at each other. I was like, this is like everything that I would love. So can you maybe give us a little bit more insight on either Harmar or Man Man?
Well, I'll only give my takes on two-syllable bands, musicians. So Harmar and Man Man, you got it right there. So Harmar Superstar Sean, I'd known his work. I liked his band Sean Na Na, which was his more of like indie kind of band, and Calvin Crime, I think, was his like pop punk band before that. I knew about his stuff, and then the Harmar stuff, of course. Like when I got to see him, I think in summer of '99 when him and Adam and His Package played at the Smell, and LA, but I became friends with them just through mutual friends, and we became really close. And he actually was the Harmar band. He diverted his tour the summer when I got married because he wanted to be the wedding band for my wedding, and actually rerouted his tour.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
so sweet.
He's like a really, really amazingly sweet and insanely talented guy with insane pipes. But they did some like Harmar stuff, but they also they got together a bunch of covers. Here's like a fun kind of name droppy story. So like they have these like covers all set up, but they since it's like kind of a limited band, he only had like a few of the members able to do this. He had a backing track they could play along with for keyboards or horns or something like that, just to kind of fill out the sound. And so and he got there kind of early to set up, and then he had to leave, and he kind of came back and watched the ceremony and then got on. So he didn't really know who was in attendance. So he starts playing Power of Love. The band starts playing Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News. But he doesn't know is that one of the guests is Tom Wilson, the actor who played Biff in the Back to the Future movies.
Casual.
Yeah. And I say this, I name drop this way because I think I would love to hear it. If I would love to hear someone drop a name, then I have no shame in dropping it myself. I don't even drop it. I slam it down and go, Hollywood. But so I wasn't around this because I'm watching, me and my wife are watching the band and singing along. And what I guess is happening is that a friend of mine, Mike Chillian, who is a great animator and cartoonist and a musician and a crazy band called the Manx, if you ever want to look that up, MANX. But he's talking to Tom Wilson. He's like, hey, Power of Love. Maybe you should get up there. And he was like, come on, man. Because this is this guy's entire life, dealing with this fandom. And then he's like, I know that must happen to you all the time, but it would be really funny. And so he's like, you're right. So he storms the stage and then grabs the microphone away from Harmar. And Harmar's like, and then realizes who it is. And then Tom Wilson just starts going, that's the power of love, going full on belting it. But the thing is, the song was ending. And so the backing track was ending. And then the bass player, Denver, from Desaparecidos and stuff like that, he kind of stopped playing. And then Tom Wilson goes, keep playing, and kind of does a stage slap, and then and he's smiling because he had no idea he was there either. And and he just kind of acapelled it a bit. He's like, you guys are all professional. And he threw down the mic and he left, as a whole kind of bit. So that's my Harmar. That's if you want to know about Harmar.
I love that so much.
Yeah, it's a
powerful story.
Very, very fun. And so Man, I've known Ryan, who's Honus in the band Man. I've known him because I started dating a girl who used to date him when they both lived in Philly, and they were still friends. And so when Man used to come out, the band would crash at her place, and so I got to know him that way. And then she broke up with me, and then he got a hold of me. He's like, hey, just let you know we're friends. I know what it's like to be dumped by Lauren. And then so we became really, really good pals. And then I was in New York, and he was like, hey, would you? Me and Man and Piss Jeans are playing at the I forget which theater it was in New York. It's like, do you want to do comedy at it? And I was like, well, I hate doing comedy at a music show because it's two different types of paying attention. And so I was just like, I'll just go up on stage and kind of mess around. And so I go up on stage and mess around. I start doing bits and playing parts of Hulk Hogan's music album, the Hulk Hogan, the wrestling boot band. I want to be a Hulkamaniac, and some guy who looked like a wrestler, he looked like Tugboat. That's what I remember. He's just a big dude wearing a headband, started going, no, sing along. He's like, don't make fun of that. And then I'm just kind of I start kind of making fun of the guy because I'm just trying to keep it loose and lively. And then the dude gets up on stage and then starts to tussle with me. And I'm scared because I'm a big guy, but he's really big and overpowering me. I'm like, okay, man, right on. And then he picks me up and then starts to bring me down over his knee, and then pulls his knee back and then kind of breaks my fall on the stage. And I was like, okay, well, this guy's I think he knows what he's doing. He must some training, some combat wrestling, training. And then like I start to get up, and then the dude steps over me, pulls down his sweatpants, and then starts to try and sit on my face with his bare, sweaty, hairy ass. And so like I remember grabbing the mic stand and like pulling it over like this, and like pushing and then like his cheeks were going around the stand, and I'm just struggling. And while this is happening, I can see the guys from Man Man. I'm going, help! Help! I'm screaming, help! Like most of the place isn't even paying attention because they're just waiting for the bands to start. Like, so there's just like all this noise happening. There's people going around. Some girl at the front of the stage starts to untie my shoe and takes my shoe off. And so like finally like I'm able to like get around the guy, and I push him down, and I run back up to the green room where the security guard almost doesn't let me in. He's like, "Who are you again?" I was like, "I'm the opening act." And then I go, why didn't you guys help me? That was fucking terrifying. And they're like, "Oh, you don't know that guy? We thought that was like a bit. I thought you planned that bit or something like that." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So afterwards, like after the show's done, everyone leaves, and I'm looking around for my shoe. And then like I'm asking people around, I'm just walking around, my sock is getting soaked with, beer. And then like I hear some lady go, "Hey!" And then she pulls it out of a trash can. He's like, "Is this yours?" I was like, "Yeah." And then she's like, "I think they took the laces." Yeah.
Lord.
Okay, first of all, very glad I asked about Man Man because that story was sensational. I'm sorry that happened to you, but like for our enjoyment, fantastic.
But that's great.
Yeah.
Why is there not a movie based on this moment?
Yeah, I don't know. Years later, I think that guy ended up getting into like the regional wrestling scene in New York. Because like all those kind of small federations kind of started popping up. I think he was.
And then he became The Rock. It's crazy.
And then he's The Rock. And he's like, "Stop claiming Hawaii, Howley."
Love it. Wow. Okay.
Oh, man.
Well, Danica.
All right. So we're going to continue on the punk train. So how would you say punk music is different, or the music scene in general is different in Hawaii versus U.S.?
Well, I'd say the way I've only ever really could tell is that it felt like when I was on tour and I'd get into like one of those towns that's just kind of in the middle of nowhere, and there's the scene is like the same kind of group of people, so they all know each other. It's very, there's different types of bands, and that's how it is in Hawaii. It's like, there wasn't a lot to go around. So every punk show would have, a ska band, a hardcore band, it was essentially like the genres of punk and indie music would be, or just like weird bands. So it felt kind of to me, when you hear stories of like early punk, like in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, where it's like there wasn't really a defined sound yet. There was like a fashion, but there wasn't a defined sound. So everyone's like, whatever didn't fit in to like what the main culture was, that was what was considered in the punk scene. And so when I remember coming to LA, and some kid was like, I was like, "Oh, you ever go to punk shows?" He's like, "I used to go to punk shows, but I kind of burnt out on it." And I was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, then I got into like the hardcore scene for a little while, and then like, but mainly I just go to like metalcore shows now. I'm like, I'm sorry, those are all different like scenes, and it's and I feel very fortunate because it kind of gave me an appreciation and an eclectic taste and an ear to like kind of take in anything that's not really kind of this monolithic, like this is what punk is, because like I consider, like Slater-Kinney punk, but I also like consider Swing and Utters punk, and they don't sound anything like each other, and so like it's like the idea of just being kind of open to the potpourri of punk, I guess.
I love it. Ooh!
Yeah.
I love that so much. I guess kind of to follow up on that, what kind of influence would you say, like being from Hawaii and growing up in Hawaii, had on both your comedy and music style?
Well, my music style, like it's like, it was Hawaii, so it was very kind of surfer culture for the most part. Like the jocks that I grew up with, like the surfer guys, like they loved NoFX and Pennywise. And so because they liked that sound, I hated that sound. I hated that kind of punk because I was like, that's what jocks listen to. And, you know, when you're a kid, like you have to like, you know, you have to find that identity to kind of like, you know, say you're mainly spending most of your energy saying what you're not when you're like, you know, an adolescent. And so, and so like I found myself like kind of leaning more towards, and because it was still the 90s and it was a very pop punk. So it's like, you know, I like the goofiness of like a lot of Lookout Records bands was like a general, like Screeching Weasel, who was, you know, be that as it may, Ben Weasel, but like that, like they were funny and they wore their hearts on their sleeves and they were still kind of tough and punk. And like, that's the kind of stuff that I really connected with because I liked, you know, movies and comedy so much that, you know, hearing bands like Screeching Weasel or like bands like the Lillingtons, like, you know, talk about old sci-fi movies and, you know, or the Misfits talking about horror movies and that kind of stuff. So it's, they kind of like really collided for me of just the, like all creativity can be anything at the same time as it wants. So I think I answered the question. I can't remember.
That's right.
I always feel like I have to do like a quick on like history lesson of myself and Hawaii sometimes. But you know, like I think with like my output of like comedy and music, it's like I like, you know, I like to celebrate stuff, and I liked like it's like when I put out the like Weird Al covers album thing, like on Asian Man Records, like that was just me, like it's like I had this celebration of Weird Al and punk in me, and I just kind of made that, and that was like that's what I liked. But it's also because I had to, because I didn't have a lot of people that were like me when I was growing up, you know, because you know, even though like I'm very much like a white guy, my family in Hawaii, even my brother, like it's like my dad's brown, my brother turned out brown, but my mom's white, so I had white skin, and so like, but the family we lived in with Hawaii were all very local, part Hawaiian, you know, and I was way taller than everybody else. I was like 6'4" when I was 15, you know, like just like I stuck out like an insane amount, and so like there was this this isolation I felt at school and at home. And that that's one thing that really made me gravitate towards the punk scene, that any of us can like go, it's like, oh, this is where all the weirdos ended up. So, you know, I won't stick out as much. But definitely it was something about like, being able to celebrate, the stuff I liked on my own, was a big part of like growing up in Hawaii. Like, it's like, you know, I'm not gonna like, you know, a band's gonna come to town. We're gonna go see it. We're gonna have to like it, but no one's gonna be there, you know, because no one cares. So you have to. Yeah. So the kids in the punk scene have to like, you know, oh, what band's coming to town? You know, XBXRX or you know who's, you know, it's any kind of Unwound, and then they came, Sicko, Braid, all this stuff. But like the idea of just like it's like they're coming, get their 7-inch, get their record, let's learn it, because like this is our chance to like you know, see a new band and go crazy and like celebrate them, and they almost kind of a way to thank them for coming to Hawaii.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite Weird Al album or Weird Al song?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if an album, because like an album, your favorite album, sometimes I think it's like when you came into it. It's because it's like you would know all the like the parodies and stuff like that. That's like the last few Weird Al albums. Like I was like this might be one of his best originals, and someone's like, no, that's a Miley Cyrus song. I was like,
yeah, oh yeah, all the time.
So like, you know, like when I like the first one I went to the, you know, store and bought was Off the Deep End, which had the Nirvana, you know, parody. And but as far as like song, like one of my favorite songs of his is, well, Happy Birthday is such a huge one for me, because it's like a punk song, and I remember being like, yes, like that's why I remember when me and Kumail and Emily were doing the Meltdown show on Comedy Central, like we were gonna have Weird Al on, and he's like, what should I do? And I was like, well, you can let me put together a punk supergroup. And then you play Happy Birthday, and we just go crazy, like when Fear was on Saturday Night Live, and they got all the kids from the DC Discord scene to come up and fuck shit up. And like he was like, yeah, I don't know, that seems like a lot of a hassle. I was like, all right, next idea. How about like, you know, you do Dare to Be Stupid, But we get Mark Mothersbaugh to just come out right next to you and just press play on the backing track. And then you just sing along. He's like, oh, okay, that sounds great. And so we reached out to Mark Mothersbaugh. He did a kind pass.
At least it was kind.
Yeah, it was kind. It wasn't like too dismissive. But then like I was like, oh, maybe like a version of something like with like, and then like we started talking about it. He's like, oh, it'd be kind of neat to do something like do a version of Dirty Stupid with like a string quartet. And then Al ended up doing an entire tour like a year or two ago of Weird Al with strings. Albuquerque, Jude McKenzie just said Albuquerque, which is a great song, and I'm so glad I got to see him play that live. That is an amazing song. But you know what, Dare to Be Stupid, probably my favorite Weird Al song. But close second is Frank's 2000-inch TV.
I mean, mine is still You Make Me.
You Make Me is such a great song. Yeah. And that's Oingo Boingo style, right?
Yeah, it's completely absurdist, and it's everything.
You know what? I'm going to, like, now that you reminded me of, like, Everything You Know Is Wrong, which I think is also another. Yeah. Oh, and that's just a catchy song.
Oh, yeah.
God.
I wish we could just like have an additional hour to just talk about Weird Al.
We totally could too.
Love.
Because I can still see, like, in my mind's eye, all the little cassettes of his that we had.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I had the. I remember like I was always on the search for his 7 inches or his singles and 45s. I have all of them on vinyl. That's everything I was able to get on vinyl. I can as far as LP.
Jealous. Danica, why don't you ask one more, and then we'll play the game.
All right, cool. I'm going to go with one of our weirder ones.
Apropos, nice transition.
Thanks. Which of your Meltdown guests would make the worst roommate?
Oh, jeez.
Because I wanted to make you think about the, like, 600 people you've had.
Yeah, man. Terrible roommate. Well, I guess I can... I'll do a couple different answers on this one. Here's the braggy one. Well, I'd say Dave Chappelle because he was on the show, but he smokes cigarettes indoors. So no thanks, Dave.
Nope.
I'd say Weird Al, but maybe no. Just,
a lot of polka.
Yeah, a lot of polka. Practicing that squeeze box all night, keeping me up, Who style. I could say Robin Williams, but he's dead. That's a dark joke. I could have gone a different way with that.
Yeah, too soon.
I'd say probably the Brett Gelman, who is a good old friend of mine. But Brett Gelman, having been friends with him for a long time, would be a terrible person to live with.
Why is that?
Dude's just going to drop us there.
Have you guys ever seen Brett Gelman, any of his characters in, say, like Fleabag?
Oh yeah.
Yes,
I have not watched Fleabag.
So he's it's like if a lot of his roles are the same. I guess I could have done a bigger name. I thought he's a very fine actor and a very good friend. He's lovely. But like he's like he's good at. Oh, he's also in he's in a couple seasons of Stranger Things. He's the bald guy with the glasses.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. So he's he's a lot like his characters, where he's kind of like brash and loud and a little needy, but that's just that was me trying to think of a funny thing that kind of sandbagged the whole bit.
No, I think it went great. I think
it's still a valid answer.
Okay.
Yeah, very valid.
There it is. All right, we figured it out.
Okay, so we have a game that we're going to play. This is a game of Would You Rather, so it's nothing like Jeopardy. We're not trying to put you on the spot here. There's no wrong answers. And if you want to elaborate on why you pick something, fantastic. If not, we'll move right along.
Okay.
So, Danica, do you want to read the first one?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, so.
All right. Would you rather wear Kumail's wax arm jacket or wear the Gizmodo jumpsuit every day? Every day.
I'll take the Gizmodo jumpsuit.
There you go.
I'm thinking of like the robot arms.
God, yeah. Oh, Kumail. It's so funny because like he had been sending me updates, through the course of his getting into shape. Like he would always like text me pictures, and because he didn't really have a lot of people to talk to about it. And then so when everyone when he was like, when he put out the pictures of him all ripped on Men's Health Fitness or whatever.
Ridiculous.
It's everyone's like, you see this? I was like, I've seen it. Okay, yes, he's buff.
We got it.
Yeah. There's a direct correlation between that magazine cover coming out and the amount of weight I've lost since then. There's a real, like, you can pinpoint it. If you need the red string going from one thing to the other, it wouldn't be that hard.
Okay. I was
gonna say when one of your best friends becomes a literal movie superhero, you kind of have to start eating a little cleaner, maybe drinking a little less beer.
I don't know what you mean.
As I'm drinking Coca-Cola. I was going to say, though, if you're wearing this jumpsuit, let's say that you did live with Chappelle, you could share jumpsuits. Because this is
right.
There you go.
He's a jumpsuit guy. That's right. Yeah.
Tying it all together. All right. Here's the next one. Okay. Would you... Coke or Pepsi?
You got to go with Coke.
Oh.
You have to go with Coke. It's
The
subliminal.
delicious
You've been seeding this thing since the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Not spawns.
Coca-Cola, way better than Pepsi. Pepsi sucks. I hate that thing in restaurants. It's like, and I'll take a Coke. Do you have Pepsi? Well, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, the answer is no.
Who are you?
Okay, fair enough. Or you know what?
Thank you.
Let's throw in a wild card here though. 7-Up.
Oh, that doesn't exist.
And are you talking uncolas? Uncolas?
I'm talking about the Coca-Cola.
7-Up, Sprite. Shoot, I don't know. I guess 7-Up. I'll go 7-Up. Ginger ale.
I love ginger ale. All right.
I don't think.
But you said it like you were making fun of it.
Ginger ale. I have to.
Were you hoping that like someone would go, I like it, because you're like ginger ale? Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, no, same. I love it. It's great. It's my favorite.
Ginger ale. I hate ginger ale. Yeah, me too. Right? Oh my god.
Isn't it terrible? It's the worst thing.
All right, next one.
Oh me. Oh god.
Oh.
Would you rather? Is this perform? Is this what is
No.
this?
So, would you rather have a comedy and music album featuring Rodney Dangerfield and the Aquabats, or a comedy and music album featuring Anthony Jeselnik and the Wiggles?
Oh god. Oh man. I think we kind of got to see in those later Rodney Dangerfield movies where he was despising everybody around him. I think we've already kind of seen that, even though it would be funny. But to see Anthony have to deal with the Wiggles, and like there's just their endless positivity, and he's like, chances are one of you is going to get cancer.
Also, great impression.
Thank you.
Oh yeah,
Jonah,
working on that one.
Yeah.
Love it. All right.
I've known that guy almost 20 years, so if you can't do impressions of your friends, who can you do it?
Oh yeah.
Now, how about your Rodney Dangerfield? Is that a little? Have you been?
Ooh, I don't get no respect. See, I've never met him, so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll just edit that out.
It was.
That's good respect. Is that another?
It's famous. Yeah.
All right, great.
Good. Danica, you want to do the next
All
one?
right, I'll take the next one then. All right. Would you rather have your dungeon master be Chris Hardwick or be Will Wheaton?
I think Will Wheaton is just an amazing storyteller. I mean, he does that. He does audiobooks. Have you ever heard any of his audiobooks? He's got that great voice, and he's also he could be a real dick when he wants to, which is I think a really good thing. And when it comes to being a dungeon master, so I'll go with Will there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he did Ready Player One, right? And I think
yes.
Okay. Yeah, pretty epic. All right.
He's got a good tone in his voice.
Very good tone.
Yeah.
But when I think of Will Wheaton,
Yes, dulcet.
it's the tone. All right, here's the next one. Okay. Would you rather play Cards Against Humanity with your in-laws or perform stand-up for an auditorium of second graders?
Oh, perform stand-up for an auditorium of second graders. That's an easy one. That's the easiest one.
Oh, great.
Wow.
Great.
All right.
Fantastic.
I would be nervous and I would be sweating up a storm. I would like get way too needy. But I would like probably just dig in and be as the goofiest version. I would go so blue. I talk about boogers and butts. They'd love it. They'd love it. Yeah.
I feel like that's what I want to hear about too.
Yeah. Y'all ever get a booger in your butt? Y'all ever get a booger in your butt? Yeah.
Sold. Oh man. Okay. Next.
All right. Woo. Would you rather do a riff tracks to an episode of The Kardashians or riff tracks an episode of Fuller House?
Ooh. This is a fun one because they would be completely different because riff tracks on Fuller House, there would be moments of just going like, they just need work. I mean, everyone needs a job, right? It's like, you're going to be like, it's like, I've been there, just taking a gig. And I have a feeling if to do a riff tracks of an episode of The Kardashians, it would be the most cruel, mean riffing that's
boogers
ever been done. Yeah. It's just like, they all look like they got boogers in their butts. Also, looking at the image you got for The Kardashians, I think you might need to update that. I think there's been some shifts.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Reset.
Yeah.
They all have new faces now.
Yeah, exactly.
Just talking about haircuts. That's all we're talking about.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think Aunt Becky will ever come back to Fuller House?
I think she can. I mean, like, honestly, are you talking about because now she's a criminal mastermind, or?
She spent her time in jail.
She did her time.
She did her time. More time than I'd say, other types of people get for lesser infractions. But sure, hey, let's get them white ladies in and out of there as fast as we can.
Right. I was going to say, though, if Robert Downey Jr. can make a comeback and now be the biggest movie star in the world, I think Aunt Becky has a chance.
You know what, though? I think there's a big difference between having like a substance abuse problem and addiction problems or just trying to cheat the system
morals.
because you're rich.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, big time.
Okay. Well, then I take back my statement. And
Yes, you were wrong.
drugs.
Your opinion on this joke conversation was incorrect. I win.
Yes, and.
Yeah.
All right. Who's reading the next one? Oh, okay. Okay. Would you rather take accordion lessons from Weird Al or banjo lessons from Steve Martin?
Gonna have to go banjo lessons from Steve Martin because I've never met him, always wanted to, and I've always wanted to learn how to play the banjo. I once saved up a bunch of money when I was a kid of my allowance because I had an eye on a banjo at the music shop in town, and I got my money. I got there, and they had sold it the day before.
To Steve Martin?
To Steve fucking Martin.
That dirty bastard.
That's why I want lessons of him, so I could take the banjo and bash it over his head.
Banjo
Steal
kazooie.
his banjo.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. How many more we got? Oh, this last
The
one.
last one. All right. Would you rather be a reverse centaur or a reverse merman? Graphics are very important in this one.
Yes.
Booger butt.
Yeah. Wow. I'm gonna. You know what? I don't want to navigate the sea with all of its predators with human legs trying to kick instead of a fin. So I'm gonna have to go with the reverse centaur because it looks like I still have hands in this situation. I have four hooves and hands. I don't know. I can't see the whole image.
Right.
I think it's just front hooves and then hands and feet.
Oh,
Okay.
God, that's terrifying.
Yeah, that's the weirdest reverse centaur I've ever seen, and I've seen plenty.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but I'll go reverse centaur. I want a mane,
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And the sugar cubes. Good perk.
Right.
The sugar cubes. Oh, you gotta get the sugar
Gotta
cubes.
get the sugar
Carrots, all of the horse things.
Love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that was Would You Rather.
Okay.
All of your answers were correct.
it occurred.
Oh, okay.
Whoa, Paul's got a question.
Okay. Would you rather do another season of MST3K or appear on an episode of Star Trek or the Oroville?
I'd rather do another season of MST3K. It's the most important show in my life, to be able to get to do it again. And who knows what, they're still trying to work and figure stuff out, but that would mean a lot to me than doing, just like kind of one episode of another show, even though I like, acting in other shows and stuff like that. But also money-wise, I'd make more off of a season of a show than a single episode. So, Paul, you got to think about the economy.
Paul, come on. Paul. Okay, so before we do wrap this up, Danica and I just kind of want to talk about your projects. So let me watch your movie with you.
Hey, first person to ever get it right.
Did I get it right?
Yeah.
I have it written down. So
Is that really hard to get right?
I think it's just because I like how clunky it is. I like how how many syllables it is. But
Very
a lot of
clunky.
people go, let's watch your movie. Like, they just can't really remember. Yeah, let me watch your movie with you. A nice, fun project I'm doing while everything's kind of locked down and everything's kind of shut down. But it's a podcast that also acts as a commentary track. So kind of like riff tracks or any kind of interview podcasts. But like you could sync it up with the movie because I watch movies with the people who made them. So I watched The Big Sick with Emily V. Gordon. This week's episode is going to be with Will Wheaton, where we watch Toy Soldiers.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I watched.
I'm so sad that I missed the MST3K movie. I'm so sad that I missed that.
Oh well, I mean, it's that's we recorded it. We were taking questions, but I could probably
because I always wanted to be there.
Yeah, so we had Kevin and Trace for Mystery Science Theater. The one that's out right now is the fun one because it's a movie that I was in for Blumhouse's Into the Dark series on Hulu, and it's me, Felicia Day, Alejandro Brugues, who directed Juan of the Dead, which we also did an episode of, and Malcolm Barrett from Timeless, and we're basically doing commentary on our own movie, so it just turns into like a real shit talk.
That's amazing.
Real shit talk festival. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We did Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey with Alex Winter. Watched Critters 2 with Mick Garris. We watched with Derek Mears. I got a ton. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it's been
so cool.
It's been fun because it's like that's what I've been like working towards for years is like making movies and stuff like that. So it's kind of like an opportunity to just have like a front row seat to like a little class and just kind of go, how did you pull off that shot, or when you're doing this performance, like all that kind of stuff. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, and I miss commentaries. I mean, because I just miss DVD commentaries.
Is there a movie that you're hoping to get to do?
Yeah, one of the ones I'd really love to do is I want to. I mean, this is just like this will never happen, but
okay.
I want to talk to Tim Burton about Ed Wood. I think that would be really good.
I
had the writers for Ed Wood, Larry Kazarowski and Scott Alexander, but we watched their movie that they wrote and directed called Screwed. With Dave Chappelle and Norm Macdonald. Yeah, but they're the writers for that. But they wrote Ed Wood, they wrote Man on the Moon, they wrote People versus Larry Flynn, People versus O.J. Simpson, the Dolomite movie.
Dolomite.
Yeah, that's so. Oh my god. Well, Tim Burton, watch it right now. We'll put you guys in touch. No problem at all.
Yeah, I know they've all been so fun to do. So it's like the dream list could easily be something very simple or very very fun. But because it's like Steve Zahn in anything. That was I was saying anything with Steve Zahn just to get to talk to Steve Zahn for a while. Yeah. Safe Men, like him and if I had Sam Rockwell and Steve Zahn and we watched Safe Men together, I would end the podcast after that.
All right, let's manifest it into the universe. And
ask the universe, and it shall get back to you.
I can't whistle. Just pretend like I whistled. And Danica, do you want to?
Yeah, so let's also quickly touch on Jonah Radio.
Yeah.
So I guess the big question for us about that is, what do you look for in songs that you feature?
I don't know. It's funny because there is my own personal taste, which tends to lean towards punk stuff, garagey stuff. It just, but there's also like a lot of like, every once in a while, like, good hip hop will come in. The thing that like I've noticed though, and this is not to say, but sometimes people will submit stuff and it'll be expertly produced, but I won't feel like there's anything there. And then there's like the email to like this guy's like it's like, hey, I'm here. We recorded this on my phone, and just we're from Edinburgh, Scotland, and just and then the next email comes in. Sorry, I forgot to attach the link. There's something so charming about that stuff. Yeah. But it's just I don't know. I tend to like I tend to like a lot of like garagey, sloppy punk and hardcore and. But there's been also other kinds of stuff that just kind of comes in. I go, that's good. I try to listen to everything that's submitted. And
Wow.
and sometimes I'll give it a little maybe, and I'll come back to it another time. But yeah, it's hard to say what we'll get in or not. But we really love it when people submit, because we just today we put up our episode of like our favorite submissions from this year. So,
Oh, great.
yeah.
That's heck yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a way to help support like people that might need some attention. That
Yeah,
stuff is
definitely.
really
I need
important.
attention.
Yeah.
Attention.
But like the stuff that I think we all enjoyed about it, like a punk scene, like a community, like in any kind of artistic community of just people like kind of looking out for each other and trying to celebrate each other's stuff. And like hopefully if like someone heard a band that they liked on the podcast, they would go to their band camp, ideally on a band camp Friday, and then buy something from that band, or at least tweet them and say, "Hey, I like your stuff," because that stuff goes a long way when you're doing this stuff. It's important.
Yeah.
That's really
Yes.
I love that.
We understand.
Yeah.
So, Danica, before we wrap this up, why don't you go over our upcoming guests that we have coming up?
Yes, I can do this.
Ooh.
All right. So this coming Tuesday, January 5th, we have Roger Clark.
He is the actor from Red Dead Redemption.
On Tuesday, January 12th, we have Jimbo.
From Canada's Drag Race.
Wow.
So exciting.
On Thursday, January 14th, we have Mr. Glenn Sobel.
He is the drummer from Alice Cooper and Hollywood Vampires.
Oh wow.
And then on Tuesday, January 19th, Mr. Steve Gonsalves.
From Ghost Nation and Ghost Hunters.
And then on Tuesday, January 26th, we've got Lucas Rossi and Icarus Bell.
And so that should be really fun. And we have a couple other things in the works. And Casey
Also, Casey's coming back. So we'll have Casey Jost again on Tuesday, February 2nd. We just had him last week. Hooray!
from Impractical Jokers and Impractical Insiders. So very exciting. Huzzah. Jonah, before we wrap this up, someone's plugging my song.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jonah, I'll send you my stuff after we
please do. Please do.
So then you can give me a big old maybe.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
I had a great time. Of course, like any obligation these days, I wasn't looking forward to this, but I'm glad I did it.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. I love honesty.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even you guys. It could have been anything. It could have been. Tomorrow I got to do an episode of Doug Loves Movies with Doug Benson. I'm sure once it's done.
It's
he's
because
great.
you have to be, cognizant and like kind of mentally aware.
Not with Doug. You should.
Not with Doug.
Be as incognizant as possible. Oh my god. Real quick story, and I can't even believe I'm gonna say this, and my mom watches this. I used to partake in weed.
Yeah.
And I mean,
are you talking about that mostly legal substance? Okay,
yeah.
keep going.
Well, this is quite a few years ago.
Okay.
I remember it was one of the times I had taken an edible, and I went to go see Doug at the Miami Improv, and he was like, "Hey, who out there is high?" And I was like, "Me!" Thinking everybody out there was gonna be in the same situation, woo, but everyone was probably quiet because they were a different kind of stoned, and he was like. And I was so unfair. But he still took a picture with me, so
that's nice.
Good guy.
I did. He used to do a show at Largo in LA called Getting Doug with High, and I did it once. I was like, he asked me a couple times. I was just like, I don't really smoke weed. Like, I drink, and if I smoke weed, it's like it's a solo venture. It's like a thing I do on my own. He's like, no, it'd be fun. It's fun. You got a bunch of friends on. Like Steve Agee was on the show. Harris Whittles was there. Eric Andre, and Rory Scovel. All great friends of mine, and funny comics. But so we're all on stage and we start smoking. Where you just kind of put the mist into a plastic bag and then just kind of shove the plastic bag.
The aerators.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. What are you talking
Reverse
about?
And I told everybody off the front, I was just like, just let everybody know I kind of get quiet, when and I don't feel like talking when I get high, and just don't fucking be weird about it. And so I do that, and then I kind of I just kind of get quiet and I kind of shut down, and then Eric Andre comes on the stage late with a pit bull that just starts barking at everybody, and then just kind of becomes, and then Harris Whittles just kind of because he's him and Rory Scover, those guys that kind of get energetic when they're stoned, and they start kind of doing bits, and Eric Andre's screaming at people, and then I kind of just, the more chaos that surrounded me, the more I was just kind of went down like that, and then everyone started paying attention to me, which was the worst thing they could have done.
Oh no.
And I remember I was like, I'd rather be on the stage smoking speed than weed right now. And then they're like, any last thoughts, Jonah? I was like, no one talk about this to me on Twitter or anything ever again. I don't want to hear about how I am not good at smoking weed. It's not anything I want to hear about. Because being from Hawaii, that's a big shameful thing to not be good at smoking weed. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. I'm glad to know that.
It's enough time has passed now that I think I'm okay with it.
It's safe.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's on your resume.
It sure is. Embarrass himself on podcast.
Beautiful.
It's most of my resume. It's just pages of that.
Fabulous. Well, Jonah, this has been, thank you, times infinity. We would love to have you back again. I feel like you have stories for years.
It's
so.
my favorite thing. I
Yay!
appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, I guess everyone, please be safe. Wash your hands. Wear your masks. Please. And we will see you guys next week. Oh, Happy New Year.
Oh, God.
And all the acquaintance, something.
We forgot.
Yay, Robert Burns.
All right, y'all. We'll see you guys next week in the new year. Bye, guys.